Today, I want to walk through the different kind of dialers that you can use to do your cold calling, cold SMS, whatever outreach method that you're doing. And I've been in a lot of different groups where we've kind of gotten into conversation about this stuff, but there seems like there's a lot of confusion about what dialers are out there, what they all do, and kind of the pros and cons to each of them. And so I'm going to try to explain that in the best way that I can. So, kind of going from like worst to best a little bit is starting with these like free call and text apps. So these are your Text Now, your Text Plus, your Google Voice, and things like that. And these initially are really appealing to people because you can get a separate number that is totally like disjointed from your personal phone number. And if people go back and search it, they can't tie the thing back to you. The problem with that is everybody that I know who has used a service like this has run into a problem where they get caught by the spam filters. And the reason why that happens is because these free phone number websites don't actually give you a brand new number whenever you sign up for them. They actually just give you a phone number that's from their pool of numbers that they just kind of give out to the free users. And so the problem is that you actually have no idea how that phone number was used before it was issued to you. And so if you've ever used something like this, it's a big reason why you get caught by the spam filters and you're just not really able to have amazing luck with these. Now, one step above that is using your personal phone. So, whatever iPhone or Android device that you already have. And the benefit with this is that because it's coming from a normal carrier, so your T-Mobile, your AT&T, your Verizon, and things like that, you usually don't get caught by the spam filters. But the trade-off is that if somebody wants to go back and look you up, they can figure out that you are the registered owner of the phone. Now, one big advantage, especially if you're like an iPhone user specifically, is that if you're doing any kind of SMS outreach, what you'll find is that people are a lot more likely to respond to the iMessages, like the blue bubbles, than they are a green bubble. And so it's one of the things that if you have the ability to like use your phone and like you don't care about people being able to like track your number and figure out that it's you, um, works really, really well. And also, another little nugget, works great for lead nurture. Like when we were running the sales team, when I was a sales manager, all of our sales guys had iPhones, and we would do all of like the text nurture through their iPhones because people trust the blue bubbles just a little bit more. Now, one level above that is you have a power dialer. Now, there's tons of different apps that have the capability to do power dialers, but most people, especially in like the groups that I've been in, are using either something like Go High Level that has it in like a workflow automation or like close.com, which has it like built in as like a main feature. And the way that these work is that you basically queue up all of the calls, and after each call, it just jumps to the next one. So it goes one, two, three in a very linear type of order. And now this can drastically increase the amount of calls you can make per hour. The only downside that you have with a power dialer is that you do still have to go through a lot of the voicemails and not answers and dead phone numbers and things like that. And so it reduces the time between calls, but it doesn't completely eliminate it. That is the goal of a parallel dialer like Five9 or like Genesis. And the way that these work is that they will dial anywhere from 5 to 10 different numbers at a time. And then the first one that picks up, it'll connect you to it and it'll disconnect from the other ones. And so the goal with this is that you basically kind of have the same exact thing. So, as opposed to getting caught by the voicemails and things like that, if you dial 10 people, it's likely one of them is going to pick up. And so, you know that whenever you hit that dial tone, that it's very likely that you're going to like get somebody who actually picks up the phone, and then you're not going to get, caught by a voicemail. Next level above that is a predicted dialer like Call Tools, for example. I don't remember the name of this one. I think it's like dials.ai or something like that. But I previously used Call Tools, and what Call Tools does is if you are on a call, and what happens is that the system tries to predict when that call is about to end. And so what it does is when it senses that the call is about to end, it starts calling the next person and tries to time it so that when you hang up with prospect number one, you're immediately connected to prospect number two. And this is the step above the parallel dialer because you ideally don't have to ever hear the dial tone. Like you finish a call and you're immediately like that on with the next person. And so one like little downside of this is that sometimes these systems can kind of like misjudge it. So if you've ever gotten a phone call from someone and it's like you say hello and there's a silence and then you hear a click before the person starts talking, it's because they're using a predictive dialer and it basically like misjudged how long the call was going to take. And so like that was the reason why you got to hear that. And then a quick honorable mention for you is number 6, which is caller ID wrapping dialers. So I have only ever had experience with Phone Burner. I think there's some other stuff, but I've only ever used Phone Burner. And the way that this works is that it doesn't have any of like the real advantages that, parallel dialers or predictive dialers do. But what it does do is it really, really helps with pickup rates because what it does, so you have your phone number here, let's say you're in a 512 area code, it makes the call. And then, regardless of where your lead is, so whether you're in Houston, in Chicago, in Miami, wherever, the system will call from a local area code. And so it'll basically pull from this like big pool of numbers and will call them from an area code that's local to them. Because the reason why this works is that when if you got a phone call and it was from somebody in a totally different state, you're like, I don't know anybody out there, and you're probably not going to answer. But if you call from the same area code as them, they're a lot more likely to answer because it might be somebody that they know. And so these work really, really well for like really big teams that are calling, like doing like international cold calling campaigns, because it basically just increases the likelihood that somebody actually answers the phone. And I think that there's some systems that kind of like marry one or more of these different types of dialers together. But these are just the ones that I kind of have experience with. So if you are like just starting out, the only thing I would say is I would not touch any of these like free apps. I would start using your phone because it's like, it's what you have. And assuming that you don't sell like bullshit in a bun, you don't have to worry about anybody getting back to you. The next logical step would be to use a power dialer. And then once you are either like making a ton of calls and you're building a team and things like that, that's when parallel and predictive dialers really start to become valuable. So, but yeah, that's it. I just wanted to kind of clarify that for folks because there's a lot of confusion around it in some of the groups that I'm in, and I wanted to try and make it simple.